So, for Season 6's dreaded Episode 9, we have the Battle of the Bastards. So this was something which was really, there was a lot of hype going up for this thing. But besides going straight into the whole Battle of the Bastards segment of it, that's not all we get in this episode. Unlike something like The Watchers on the Wall or Blackwater, this isn't all set in one location. We do have two scenes where we're in Mereen, and I'm glad we got that, because I would have felt with Daenerys coming back at the end of the other episode, I felt it would have been a bit weird if it would have taken 2 episodes until you'd find the resolution to that, because that feels like one of those things you need to resolve like straight away. And also it was good to see that they didn't really even there like resolve it quite straight away. Like you would have thought some that you would just take out all the dragons and then just get rid of all of the slavers, and then it'd be done in an instant. But there was a little bit of discussion with Tyrion going on as well, so that was good to see. And there was a little bit of talk, about her father again. That's always cool to hear. She was saying that she'd burned tons of people, and just saying that's kind of going in the area of Mad King. And it's important, that she has people like Tyrion by her side, because if not for people like that, Daenerys would just go insane. She really would, I think, without the people she's had over the years. Like, I don't know where she'd be without someone like Jorah. I mean, people have been saying, I don't know, even this season, that she has the potential of becoming a villain by the end of the show. But I think that's really unlikely. I can't imagine Tyrion with him coming by her side so recently, I suppose you could say, and then her just going crazy, because we've already seen that he's able to, give her good advice and whatnot. So I don't think she's going to go crazy. But the dragons do end up burning the right people. And also Grey Worm takes care of the 3 slavers. And it's interesting actually the way that I think it was Yezan took Tyrion captive last season. I think he was the one that was spared, and Tyrion directly talks to him and says, you gotta remember that this happened. You have to remember what Daenerys did this day. And I feel like, even though Daenerys has done some big things before in these cities, I think this really is the biggest thing that she's done. Yeah, I think people are definitely going to not want to mess with her after that. I'm guessing next episode, really, she's going to be starting to head off to Westeros then, by the looks of things. I mean, in the preview, Tyrion is saying to her that she's in the game now, so that seems like it's kind of going a bit more somewhere. And also earlier this season we did have that little exchange where she was kind of basically saying, we'll take care of Mereen and then we'll go to Westeros, and then Darius like, yep, that's what we'll do. And yeah, I guess that's what they'll do. I mean, I don't know, people complain about her not being in Westeros yet, but I feel like it's good the amount of time that she spent where she was, because she's kind of understood certain things about ruling and conquering and things like that. So it's good that she didn't go there straight away. But at the same time, it's good to see that she will be going there, because then she'll be able to meet all these other characters and see what sort of things will be like there. So as well as the sorting out the Marine problems with the slavers, the Greyjoys come into this episode. They are going to help Daenerys get the throne, and then exchange all they want is just that they get Iron Islands for themselves. I mean, there was that thing where it seemed like things were going okay, and then Daenerys is like, but you can't do all your pillaging whatnot stuff, and then you're like, but that's what we do, that's the way we do things. And then it's like, no, you can't do that, and then they do have the sort of pact, and things are all good, and then it seems like they trust each other. But I do feel like, because that like Yara says, that is just a part of the Greyjoy way, I guess. that something is gonna happen, like somewhere along the way. It's not like they're gonna get to Westeros and then Yara's gonna betray her straight away or something like that. But I feel like, I don't know, maybe even sometime in the future something's gonna happen, that they're gonna do something small and it's just like, hey, we had an agreement. I don't know, but I feel like, yeah, it's not as simple as just like, okay, we'll never act like Ironborn anymore. But anyway, like, it seems like overall Yara and Daenerys, that they're getting all. They're getting on pretty well, and there was even that little funny bit where Daenerys was wondering, he's like, hey, you're not offering marriage, and then Yara's just like, oh, well, I mean, if you want, but I'm not asking for it. So yeah, that's really all the stuff going on Meereen, and that was pretty cool to see. And I was thinking, just up to that point in the episode, like just seeing the Greyjoys with Daenerys, that was cool. And then seeing the slavers being taken out by the dragons, that was all really cool. Up to then, I was thinking, wow, this episode is already really good. And the battle, the main focus of the episode, hasn't happened yet. And wow. Overall, I honestly think this is the greatest episode of Game of Thrones so far, and I don't think the next episode could possibly top this one, but this was incredible, I think. Like, honestly, this battle reminded me of the Revenant. The grittiness to it was a sort of a thing that you don't always get in Game of Thrones. I mean, Game of Thrones has always been a sort of a gritty show, of course, you know, all sorts of violence happening like all the time. But I don't think we've never seen a battle sequence like this before. But this was like everyone was just on the field, and over time, you know, bodies were piling up to the point where it was just shocking, like, to see just how horrific this stuff is. I mean, Game of Thrones, I mean, sure, like 6 seasons, you know, I mean, it's a shocking show, but still, there's just a certain realism to it all, you know, and to see those moments where Jon is in the midst of it all, it's all happening around him. That's the sort of, when I say it's like the Revenant, you do have that sort of thing, you know, like you have those scenes where Hugh Glass, where he's running around the place, and, you know, the same sort of thing, people are being killed all over the place. And even though, you know, it's really unlikely, because Jon got resurrected this season, that he'd be killed again, it still feels like there's the chance he will die, you know? And that's always a good thing to do. Like, if it's sort of a thing where, you know, it's really unlikely a character is going to die, at least make it seem like, okay, they can die here. Possibly my favourite moment in the whole battle is the moment where Jon basically gets knocked over, and people are just trampling over him, and there's sort of a thing, you know, it says like, Kit Harington was saying in the Inside Game of Thrones thing, you know, it was sort of like it's like Jon was in this sort of moment where he's thinking, I could just let go, I could just die now, because you could really see in this battle that Jon was really just getting tired, and there could have been moments where he could have just stopped. He says earlier in the episode, you know, he's faced up against worse and whatnot, but this is by far the most intense thing that he has gone through. What he's gone through in Hardhome, that was sort of I guess more of a sort of realization of like the real great threat that's out there. But this, in terms of a physical challenge, there's no way he's ever gone through anything harder than this, and I doubt he'll ever go through anything that's worse than this. And even by the end of it, like the very end, when he faces up against Ramsay by the end, what he ends up there, because he's gone through all that, he's really changed there, I feel. Like, I mean, he just starts beating the absolute shit out of Ramsay. I mean, he picks up the shield, and Ramsay's just throwing the arrows at him, and Ramsay's thinking, like just one of these they'll hit him. But no, and then Jon just like hits the shield down on him, and he just pounds at him, and he just keeps on going. And one of the things actually I love about this is the fact that Ramsay, he's still got a smile on his face, because he's just a psycho like that. I feel that's really like sticking in character with him like that. but still, it is just sort of just weird to see just this really good person like Jon Snow just go so violent like that, like beating someone so cruelly like that. I mean, of course, Ramsay deserves it. He's an absolute fucking, I don't even know how you describe him. I mean, the way he ends up in the end, I feel like that's a cool way to go as well. You know, the fact that Sansa went through a lot last season with him. The fact that she gets to see his death and like he gets killed by his dogs. And, you know, he's saying earlier in the episode, like, oh, they haven't eaten for, like, 7 days, you know? And then she's like, yeah, they haven't eaten for 7 days, and they're right next to you. They might want to eat you. And he's like, no, they're loyal to me. They won't eat me. And they do. And, yeah, Sansa actually, she smiles at this at the end. I mean, you might think it's kind of creepy or something, like, just the way she walks up and she's smiling at the fact that he's being eaten and he's being killed. But, I mean, you would, though. Like, it's like that moment, I mean, maybe not quite the same, but like, say, back in season 2, when she finds out that she doesn't have to marry Joffrey, no, she's actually laughing at the thing. But here, you know, this is someone who's really, who's getting something which he deserves, and probably might have been thinking at some point, maybe he'll never be pay back for what he's done in the past, but finally he does. And I think maybe even he was thinking at the moment, like the way he's smiling at times, you know, even there, like he's smiling, Sansa, you're here. Maybe he like overestimates things just a bit much. You know, when like after the Arryns come and he's in Winterfell, he's thinking, when he's in Winterfell, he's thinking, no, things will still work out right. But no, 1-1 comes in, and then, no, he loses. He kills 1-1, you know, 1-1 was bloody awesome. Didn't get any, I guess, really major deaths. I was expecting maybe Tormund or maybe Davos even. The note of Davos, I'm actually quite glad he didn't die, because earlier in this episode you do see him picking up the little stag toy that he made for Shireen. So he knows that what really happened to Shireen now, so he's got some unfinished business with Melisandre. But yeah, no, we didn't get any really major deaths in the battle, besides 1-1. And I think because we really got to see just the strength of 1-1. I mean, of course, he's a massive giant. I mean, of course, he's going to be someone who's really strong. He's got all those arrows going into him, and he's still going. And then Ramsay puts the thing through his eye, and that's the end of him. But yeah, it's sad to see him go. He was a cool giant, and I think maybe he might have been the last of the giants. I don't think there are any more. But that's, you know, that's pretty sad, you know. Like earlier this season, we got the end of the Children of the Forest, as far as I know. I mean, it looks like, but with that invasion of the White Walkers into the cave, that was the end of the Children of the Forest. But now we've got the end of the giants as well. So now the only magical creatures in the world are the dragons. I mean, dragons, that's still cool to have around, but you know, there was a point where we had, you know, 3 magical creatures. But also, yeah, on the note of deaths, what we do also get in this episode is the death of Rickon. Now, this was a death which I thought was terrible to see, but not on the it's weird. Like I never really cared about Rickon. I mean, there's basically nothing to his character. I mean, he was in 3 seasons and he did nothing, and then he was gone. He appeared in this season. He didn't say anything, and then he appears in this episode, doesn't say anything, and then he dies. There's not really a lot going on with his character, but it's more of a case of it's yet another Stark dying. And you know, Jon was close to really, you know, getting him back, and then just no, that's the end. And I really like the way they played that out, as in they could have done it in a way where Ramsay just takes him out, and then he's just like, you know, he could have just like killed him there, like he was taking down the knife, and I mean I was thinking, yeah, he's probably just going to cut the things, but like as in they could have gone a route where he just killed him right there, and you know he just dropped him, sort of like one, but in one of the Hobbit movies, sort of just showing, you know, I've killed your brother, now just look at this. I don't know, but I like the way that they do it in a way where Rickon then is a part of one of Ramsay's games which he likes to play, and you know you get to see more of his I don't know, his evil ways. I think then another one of the interesting moments in the battle itself, there is that moment where all our heroes they're surrounded by the Boltons, and then the Boltons do this thing where they're getting closer to them and they're just diminishing them more and more, and the circle of our heroes is sort of getting smaller, and it's just sort of like, oh god, it's sort of like getting closer and closer, and just like more of them gone. Apparently this moment was something that was taken from some Roman times thing, and so that's cool to know, actually, you know, because Game of Thrones does have a history of, like, every now and again getting influence from real historical events. So yeah, no, it's cool to have a little bit more of that in it, and really just go with the whole thing being really realistic overall. And then really lastly, I have just on the fact that we do have our sort of Gandalf moment. Peter Baelish and Sansa, they come with an army of Arryn soldiers, and that just makes them win then in the end. I mean, I don't know if I'd call it a Deus Ex Machina exactly. I mean, maybe it is. I'm not sure. Like, I feel it, like it's something that's done at a really right moment. I mean, they could have done it. I feel like if they did do it earlier in the episode, it wouldn't have felt as good. But the fact that everyone has just gone through such shit at that point, you know, John's coming out of the thing, and it really feels like, you know, you got that moment with the Karstark fella and Tormund Giantsbane, you know, the two of them are fighting, and you're wondering what's going to happen here. And then Tormund wins in the end of that, and then they come. And I feel like, I don't know, I feel then it's near the end, and I think it just works, you know? So then, by the end of the episode, Winterfell has been reclaimed by the Starks. We got the Stark banners put up. Out with your Boltons, and Winterfell once again belongs to the Starks after so long, you know? I remember when Winterfell got taken by the Boltons, you know, season 5, just seeing those Bolton banners around the place and Roose Bolton run the place, it just felt wrong, you know. And then now it's so right, you know. It's really good to see. Like I said, this really was the best episode of Game of Thrones that I've ever seen, and it's not just a case of, say, you know, oh, this is a good this was some good action. I mean, this was some really good action. I mean, like, the way that it was put together was just astonishing, I think. But I mean, the whole overall piece, I think it's just brilliant. The emotional side to it, plus the action side to it, plus that stuff that's going on Meereen, which is cool as well. Overall, it really is just a brilliant episode, I think. In the show so far, this is the best action sequence I've ever seen, and just overall best episode I've seen. And I really like where the show is going. I love this season. This season is amazing, I think. You know, like I said, it's not perfect. There are a couple of moments where I was just like, what? But, you know, as an overall thing, I mean, next episode, there's going to be some pretty big payoffs, I think. You know, with Cersei, High Sparrows, I haven't a clue what the hell is going to happen there. Bran, he's going to come back. Going to see some more Benjen, more flashbacks. Might find out some interesting things there, I don't know. And of course, like I said, you know, we'll get that after the whole, you know, Davos, finding out the truth about Shireen, what really happened to her, you know. And yeah, I'm really looking forward to the next one. But it will be as good as this one, but I think it will still be good either way. So yeah, that's all I have to say about this episode, and I'll be back to talk about the next one, which is called The Winds of Winter. What could that refer to? I don't know. Could the White Walkers be coming even closer? I don't know. It's a bit scary. But yeah, no, very excited for that. What could be the finale of this season? Yeah, remains to be seen. Thank you all for watching. If you got any questions, if you have any thoughts on this review or the episode at all, please let me know in the comments below, and I'll see you guys next time.